Hello, everyone, and welcome to Healing Streams. My name is Dr. Adepero and with me is my sister.
My name is Moyo.
Together, we are starting this podcast where we hope to share some of our stories and help people who are going through grief. About 22 years ago, we lost our mom in a road traffic accident, and in those years, we learned so many things about grief, loss, and even life after that. And we hope that people who are going through grief, who have lost someone, can learn one or two things from our stories or our journey. So stick with us. Okay. So,
All right. So where do we start from?
hmm, right. It's been a long journey, and I think we should start from the beginning.
Okay.
Different phases and different stages.
All right. Just for reference, she's the older sister and I'm the younger sister. Thank you.
All right. So I think a good place to start talking about grief or loss is the beginning of everything. When you hear the news, when you get to hear that okay, oh, this person passed, and how the interaction with that. I remember ours very well. You're quite young.
Mm,
Um, I'm not sure you've understood the gravity of what had happened.
mm,
So I knew that there was something different happening in the house, and myself and my younger sister had been moved to stay at our neighbor's house, and I just sensed or discerned that something was off, and I don't know. I think people were just mumbling stuff around, side talks here and there. I got to know that okay, my mom had passed, traffic accident. We're on our way to a retreat, a church function, and it felt so unreal on up until when we were called home, and then I can never forget my dad was sitting. There were two other men, and my younger sister was sitting on my dad's lap, and everybody was facing me and telling me, okay, my mom had just passed. I can never forget that image. My sister she didn't understand, so she was playing with my dad's hair. I can never forget that image, and it's still very vivid in my memory. That was the beginning of so many things, so many things that I even didn't know, we're going to experience in life. A lot of reality check and all. But I think also denial is one of the things that happen in that beginning phase where it's like, are you sure? Are you for real? You know, is this really happening? And I think there are two faces of that.
mm.
There's a face of people coming to console you or sharing your pain, in that season, how they go about it, and also even you yourself trying to process that pain, regardless of the age, that it might have happened. I think another important thing is the fact that a lot of people forget the children. If
Mm,
maybe a man had lost his wife or a woman had lost her husband, they focus on those people, the adults, and a
mm.
lot of people neglect the fact that the children are also processing that experience,
Yeah.
and they may not even be mature enough to understand the concept of death and all. What do you
Mm.
have to say about that?
Well, so about the old story, right? I think I remember being moved to our neighbor's house. I remember being there for a couple of days. Actually remember seeing, I think this was on the night that it happened actually, when I just saw that my uncles they were just coming to the house one by one, one by one by one. And it was really late at night. So I was like, is this a family meeting or something? Like I just noticed the house was getting fuller and all. And I'm not sure if I heard that night what had happened, but I think I did. But I know after that we moved to our neighbor's house. I know while we're in our neighbor's house, we were told to do a design or something with cardboard for our mom's burial and all of that.
Much later.
Well, I was very young. Honestly, I was just 4.
Were you even four? You're three.
I was 3 exactly. I was 3. So I my emotional capabilities had not fully developed at that time. So I don't think I'll be. able to, relate to this story or to the event as much as my sister would. Yeah, I don't think so. But I remember bits and pieces of the entire event
Experience.
and experience. Yes.
Okay, so talking about denial, yeah, I know that for different positions, that different people might be based on who they've lost. It might be
Mm,
different for them, and I would say that I experienced denial as well because when we were in our neighbor's house, there was
mm,
someone that was really taking care of us that period, and that was the person
mm.
that actually said we should create cardboards and
Yeah, I think
bouquet of
Auntie
flower.
Deborah. Abi?
No, not Deborah, stop way.
Okay.
Yeah. So she had told us to create bouquets, um, help design a bouquet, cardboard, and just some fancy things that
Yeah,
they put
for the
like,
burial.
yeah, on the burial ground and stuff like that. And I remember her saying to me that I should pray and have faith that
Mm,
anything could happen. And
bad advice.
and sincerely, as a young child, I actually believed it. I really believed it because on the morning of the burial, the our streets, like, we're still in our neighbor's house, but our streets, you could hear the noise of like the siren of them bringing our body, and so many, like, the area was filled with people. You could hear some noise and stuff. And sincerely, even though I was hearing those voices and the sound of the siren, I still believe that a miracle is going to happen at the burial ground. Like, even before the burial started, maybe during the burial or after the burial, I just had faith. So when we went to the burial ground, and and we're there, I think they opened the coffin,
Mm,
and they were like, okay, last time we're seeing her, I took that image in because I knew, okay, this was the last time I was going to see her. I think it dawned on me when this resurrection is not happening
resurrection
to
power.
me. So I think it happened, and that was when I actually really started crying so much. When after we poured sand, when they told us to
Mm,
pour sand, and they like lowered the body in, and so when they were saying the Oya pour sand, I was in fact crying so much, and I started counting the years, like, oh my god, so I'll never see her again. I think 2002. I started counting as I was
mm,
pouring some. In my mind, I was counting 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. I was counting. So the more I was counting, the more it was dawning on me so fast, and I was crying so much. Like, I'm not going to see her again. So 2020, 2008, I'm not going to see her. And I kept counting, and that was when I realized, no, I don't think there's any resurrection that's going to happen again. And then, that the end of the burial as well.
mm.
And
Such a sad story.
sincerely, I can never forget. Like, I had faith. I really
Mm,
had faith, but yeah, I believe that God had His own plans, and I think that's also something people who are grieving go through. The fact that you have hope that anything could happen. That things could shift, or something magical could happen, or like anything can happen. Like, maybe a miracle would happen, and then when that heartbreak occurs,
mm,
I begin to have questions and say, God, why?
mm,
But before we even go there, still talking about denial, I believe in that season as well, when, now looking at it from the people's perspective, different people process grief different ways. So you could see someone, for instance, I was in denial, I was believing that she was going to be raised from the dead. Another person could put in more time into their work, put in more effort into work. Some people may even start partying. Some people may not cry. Different people can process grief in different ways. And if by chance, outsiders see them, they'll be like, and this person just lost
mm.
their husband, this person just lost their wife, this person just lost their child,
Yeah,
and they are not even doing anything.
yeah.
But it may be how they are able to manage that
Their coping
process.
mechanism, really,
Exactly. And which is also why it's important what you say to them
at
at
that
that
point.
point.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
want
very
to talk
true.
about that?
Well, honestly, I can't relate with the part of, wanting a dead person to come back to life. I think I've only had that experience once. So the funny thing I'm going to say is there's one very funny thing I've realized is that other people's deaths that I've experienced have had more impact on me than my mother's death. And I know it's because I was quite young at the time, so I wasn't able to, fully comprehend what was happening. But I would say there's this one experience I had, where someone died literally in my presence. And a part of me was hoping that the person would stand up. I think at that time, our pastor, the church I was in then, we're told that our pastor has gone to the hospital to go and pray for the man. So I was like, we're going to hear that the man has resurrected from the dead. Because I didn't know this person personally, funny enough. I just knew him in church as a good man. He was a very good father and he had three kids. And I knew the kids, and then I'd seen their dad be around for them, be available and all of that. So I knew the man was a really good dad. Well, from what I saw. So I was really heartbroken when eventually it was confirmed that he died. But apart from that one experience, I don't really think I'm that person that would be like, I wish this person would come back to life, or I'm hoping this person will come back to life. And I don't know. And I think this will lead me to the question of, maybe we'll answer this later, or we'll find an answer later, of whether everybody goes through the stages of grief.
Hmm.
Is it possible that there are people who just hear this person is dead and they just accept, oh my god, he's dead? They cry, they clean their eyes, and you move on. And it's not like these people have like an apathy, to about the death. It's just they know that, oh my god, this person is dead. The last time I saw them literally is the last time I saw them, or will ever be the last time I saw them on this side of eternity.
Hmm.
I'm pained, I'm hurt, right? I'm going to cry, 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 cry. But I don't think I because I'm remembering another death now that I experienced when one of my friends, and we were quite close. Funny enough, I got a call, and I was getting the call, and they're like, oh, so and so person. I was like, immediately I knew the person died, and immediately I knew how the person died. Very funny, but it happened that way. And immediately I started to cry. I was crying, crying, and I just kept replaying the last experience I had with him in my mind, like, oh my god, so that was actually the last time I would actually, I saw him, and that would be the last time I would ever see him on earth. I would never get the experience to we never have to cook again, eat again, just do all the silly things we used to do together. And that was it for me. As much as I loved this person, honestly, I don't think any part of me was wishing he would come back to life or angry that he died. I was just really hurt, like, oh god, he's dead.
Hmm.
And that was it for me. I didn't go through denial. I wasn't in denial. I knew he was dead. I wasn't angry. I wasn't, expressing all those other things. So I if you think that the 5 stages of denial are not for everybody,
5 stages of grief.
sorry, 5 stages of grief, that it's not everyone that experiences this, please drop your comments, because I think this is another discussion we're going to have on this, in this series, honestly. So I think that's what I have to say. The way people interact, or the way people react to the news of death, I believe reactions are very different. Like, while we were preparing for this, and I saw a video, and the person actually was talking about it, that different people have different coping mechanisms. Some people would hear that something happened and they can start laughing. There are weird people like that. Like that's the first thing that would happen. They will just start laughing and be like, "Why are you laughing?" Another experience, but I went for a funeral recently, and I got home from the funeral, and I was talking to my friends, and I was telling them that this funeral, I saw too many things. And funny enough, as I was telling them, I saw somebody that wore shades, and I couldn't figure out if the person was crying or not. But their mouth, their lips were like this, and they were shaking throughout. And I was like, "Is this person crying?" They don't like the face was like, "I'm crying, but I'm not crying." So as I was telling my friend, we're just laughing about it. Like I told them different things. I saw at the cemetery that day. We laughed and laughed and laughed, and at some point they were like, "Why are we laughing?" And eventually, one of them was like, "I think this is just a way to cope, to cope with the death and cope with the experience and everything." We had a good laugh, and then we moved on. So honestly, I feel like different people react different ways, in different ways, to news of death and even other types of loss. Yeah.
Yeah, and the question you asked about how is it everybody that goes through different
Yeah.
phases? I believe it's different for different people.
Yeah.
Also, I believe based on the degree of closeness you had with the person while they were alive,
Mm,
sincerely, because if if you are not as close to a person, you can
mm.
hear there was something happened to this person, you would sincerely sympathize with
With
them.
yes, there are some people just be
Yeah,
like,
but
hey,
that's just it
yeah,
because you guys
hey,
were not
yeah,
as
we're not as close.
close,
Yes.
as some other people.
So now this, I don't think it's just, well, maybe, I don't know, because I'm trying to think about it, right? This my friend that I said died. I was very close to this. Like we had a weekly, there are these friends where you're like, we have to see each other every week. We see each other every week. We cook together. From class, we'll cook, we'll eat, we'll talk for hours.
I have a question
Then,
here.
yeah,
Can I go ahead?
yes,
Could it be that you went through the different phases, but you didn't actually pay attention to understand that you were going through something, and it was
honestly,
happening at different times? But maybe that period we were busy, you could not actually say, okay, because you also know that the different phases don't happen at the same time. They don't follow as well.
yeah, they
So
don't,
you might actually be like, okay,
they don't
you might
follow.
actually have accepted, and another season will come where you are just sad that this person is gone.
So the stages, I thought it was from stage one you move to stage
No,
two, stage three, stage
no,
four.
no. So you may even be in stage one and move to stage five, come back again,
Well,
continue stage two.
now that I've heard this, I think I jumped to stage five because it do look like maybe the next 1 year I will go back to stage two or stage four or stage three as the wind blows. But
So
yeah.
yeah, so I think it sincerely depends on the level of closeness you have with the person. Would also determine how you go through different seasons.
But let me
And
ask you a question.
okay,
Have you heard stories of some wives that they feel like their husbands are very wicked, and then the man will have like a medical emergency and other people are trying to save his life, and the man is like, please let him die, let him die. And will that person go through 5 stages?
so I think that is deeply psychological.
uh,
No, I don't believe it's deeply psychological in the sense that that person may actually pass, and this woman can break down.
okay.
So everybody reacts in different ways. Sincerely, you might, a person that you were not really, for instance, if
Mm,
you actually know someone and they were not like your favorite person,
yeah.
but you heard that they passed, it will still impact you one way or the other. Even if the person
Yes,
was
to be
mean to
like,
you, yes,
hey,
because we are
such
human.
is life.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even if you even wish someone bad, which ideally you should not,
Mm.
you don't wish them bad to the extent that okay they will die.
Maybe you think, maybe this person, you give your life price at the verge of death
Do you
or
understand?
something like
Yes,
that.
but not to that extent of okay, let this person just go.
Mm.
And I think another thing to point out is the fact that God can raise the dead. You know,
Yes, yes,
God can raise the
actually,
dead.
yeah.
Miracles like that
There are
happen
people who
and they
have
still
been brought
happen.
back to life.
Yes, and there's been testimonies like that. But if
Do you know anybody that has been brought back to life?
personally, no, maybe all the
I
videos
think
on
I think
YouTube,
I've watched, yeah, I think I've watched videos. I think there
videos
are
on
stories
YouTube.
of people that Benson Idahosa brought back. I
Yeah,
think I'm not sure if that's a particular person I've seen that they did a video, but well, we know that people,
it exists. Something
and
like that
very soon
exists.
myself I go raise the
Yes,
dead.
so there's one song go. Who be this guy where they heal they sick? Let me not sing it. They shout one line of that song that says,
Mm,
"Even myself at the heal the sick, even
mm.
myself at the raise the dead."
Ah, sweet, sweet,
Yeah.
sweet.
So I think yeah, in maybe in closing, I think I would
Mm,
like us to talk about how, like, for instance, someone just lost their husband, their wife, their
mm,
parents, uncle, brother,
mm,
whatever, and you plan to visit or you want to put a call across. How do
mm.
you communicate? Because I feel like a lot of people don't understand how to communicate in that situation.
Yes.
They want to overcompensate,
In this part
and in
of the
that
world,
process they get it
people
all
are very,
wrong.
yeah,
They
people,
just overdo it,
yeah. I think in this part of the world, I personally believe that people can be very invasive, into bereaved people's
spaces.
spaces. Yes. Honestly, sometimes I believe if someone, let's say someone's husband has just died, I don't think they're in the mood to be seeing 10 people in a day. Honestly, except they're exceptionally different
True.
or like that. But please let the person be alone and cry. Maybe their best friend will be there with them or something. But they don't need the whole world coming to check up on them. And
At
the
that
truth
moment,
is, the truth is, I feel like we're saying this as millennials and Gen Z, because I do believe that there'll probably be a generation or generations that would rather have people with them. And the truth is, honestly, there are other people who might not mind.
yeah,
Yeah, other people might not mind, but personally, I feel like, please don't bombard me. You know, like, don't bombard the person. Personally, I think the person should be given time. Even if they are going to be entertaining guests, let there be like an allotted time. Ask the person, can I come? Are you in the mood to see someone? Or what time can I come and see? Or, things like that. So don't just think, oh, this person's brother died, so I can go there anytime. Of which, on a normal day,
you
if you
won't
want
go
to
there.
visit them, you will not go there on anytime you like. So, and this is a more sensitive time. You should actually ask, can I come? What time have you allocated for visits? Things like that. So I think that should be like number one. In trying to support people, also don't join them. Ask
Mm.
them, how can I come in, be in your personal space without being, invasive. Yeah.
That's very good because I think recently we went to visit someone, and I was
Yeah.
thinking about the fact that would you not make them more sad
That's
that people are coming to tell them sorry? You know, like I feel like to make them more sad and be like, so I'm now the one that everybody's now coming to say hello to.
yes.
Now wow, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
And I think also, I think the support should even be more few weeks or few months after that, because everybody comes with their support immediately after
But
a person has passed. But after that,
there's no
it's
long
gone.
term support system.
Yeah.
And if it seems very superficial, to be honest,
Sincerely, like you just
because
want to mark the
all of
cake.
you will come and show, and I think it's a cultural thing in this part of the world. You don't attend someone's wedding and they're like, you didn't come for my wedding, or you didn't invite them for your wedding, and you're like,
You
you didn't
didn't
invite
invite
me
me
for
for
your
your
wedding.
wedding.
And I'm like, I had a small wedding, we're not that close, so why were you expecting me to invite you, or things like, or sometimes you even just expect people to be understanding. I did not have the budget for a big wedding, or I didn't have the mental space or capacity to, entertain 200 people at my wedding, that kind of thing. Trying to be understanding, but in this part of the world, people just feel like they have to be part of your celebration or grief. And it's not bad. So
In a
to be
superficial,
clear,
in a
to be clear,
superficial way.
when it's all superficial, it's bad. At the same time, we also need to, be very aware that people, the only way some people know how to show support is to come and visit you, right?
True.
If you've lived in our part of the world for a long time, you just feel like, this person, this died, I have to go and visit them. That's only. But if we think further, there might be other ways. You can send them messages, you can send them a devotional, grief related devotional, you can send them a song, you can send food because that person
Actually,
cannot be cooking. You can send them money because they might lose their job depending on how hard it hits them. They might lose their job, they might not be in the, there are other ways, other ways really. Go and wash the person's car or send a cleaner to come and clean their house for them. Do the other things like that actually counts. And trust me, because other people are not doing that kind of thing, it would even last longer in their mind that this person actually really supported me in my time of grief. Right? Yeah.
amazing. And I think going to the third point is the fact that what you say to, a lot of people speak with Christians. Oh, never can, like, you don't know what God is trying to
God
do.
gives and
God
God
takes.
takes.
It is well. Stop
Mhm.
crying. I think stop crying is like the worst thing you can tell someone.
Even if somebody did not die, if you see me crying and you tell me to stop crying, I will cry the more. Because is it your crying? Is it your tears? I'm trying to let it flow.
Let it out.
Let it out. I need to cry. Leave me. Honestly, I was at a funeral, that same funeral at that cemetery. One woman, as they put the body in the ground, and it was obvious that this person is really dead though. That was when one woman started her own tears. She shouted, fell down, and then some women were now holding her, stop crying, stop crying. I love it so much. One man just came out and said, leave her alone, let her cry. And the man shouted, let her cry, let her. I was like, yes, yeah, let her cry. She has to cry. If she does not cry, how will she process her emotions? These are the issues. Let the person cry. Let the tears. Please put tears in my face. It's funny, but it's not funny at the same time. But honestly, let people cry. If at that point they decide to be silent and they are not talking to anybody, don't tell them, don't be silent. It's not good. Be cheerful. Be what? After all, like, be cheerful. Be talking to people as per what? Let people have that space to actually.
Express
This
themselves.
don't cry one is personal because
It is obvious that it's personal.
actually let people cry. It's
Yeah.
not bad,
Yeah.
especially for men.
True.
If a man is
Because our
crying, let him
society,
cry.
our society feels
You
like
know,
men are.
yes. At the same funeral I went for,
Hey,
I saw a man crying and I was like, in my mind I was like, I'm
God
proud of
bless
you. In my mind I was like, I'm proud of you. You are crying in the public. You are a grown man crying in public. I love it. Very good. Moving on.
Oh my God. All right. So moving on. I think even for me as well. I remember some years ago,
Mm.
I told myself that I would stop crying about mom, especially when maybe I'm in a maybe difficult situation or
Yeah.
I'm going through a very deep or intense season
Yeah.
where I'm really feeling like the absence of my mom.
Yeah.
You know, and it backfired. I think it was during our 10th year. I think it was the 10th year that passed.
Mm.
Because I told myself that people have it worse. Why am I always like, yeah, suck it up and move on? Like, move on with
Mhm.
your life. You know, you have like life is hard. You have to keep going at
Mhm.
it. You know, put in your best. Da, da, da. You know, I'd spoken to myself that you know,
Mm.
and gotten myself to a mind frame or mindset that
Mhm.
move on. You're not the first
Mhm.
person that is losing the bond.
Mhm.
But on that 10th year, I can never forget, I broke down because I was depressed, and that day I had
Mm.
weeping spell. Like I cried as in the person even telling me, okay, like holding me, had to
Mm.
leave me to let you know how much I cried.
That's the
It was
best.
as if the 10 years of tears that was that was storing, everything just broke down.
Yeah.
So I tell people that please cry. It's very important for you to cry. It's a significant phase of healing that you cannot fast forward. You cannot skip it. I'm telling you, even if you are the strongest person on earth. And I think this is very instructive and very important. You must have outlets where you express your grief, express your pain.
Yes.
Journaling is another important aspect, you know. I think these are the things that actually helped me. Like cry,
Mm.
please, because after that experience it was not good. It was as in, it was very terrible. Now I when someone tells me, "Girl, I speak to this person, they just lost maybe a parent or something,"
Mhm.
I tell them, please
Mm.
cry, because I had to learn the hard way, you know. And by then it was almost, you know, I was almost going through
Mm.
depression. I'm not even say almost, like I was depressed,
Mhm.
you know. And it was, I feel like if I'd managed that process better,
Mm.
you know, I would maybe have, you know, be better my emotions and everything.
Yeah.
Which is why, you know, we're even doing this series now,
Yeah.
helping people who are going through grief process it well, you know, go through the phases. You can't skip any one of it, sincerely.
Mhm.
If you want to heal properly, if you want to heal with God, you can't skip the process. You have to be
Yeah.
real, you have to
Yeah.
be vulnerable, you have to
Yeah.
tell God exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
You have to say it the way it is.
Yeah.
Don't speak Christianese. I'm telling you, it's going to backfire. Don't say it is well when you know that your soul is
It
not
is
well.
not well.
It is not well. Say it, it is not
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And your journal can be a good place to express all these emotions. To say,
Mm.
dear God, write letters to God. I believe it's even through these experiences that made me start writing letters to God. And it's one of
Mm.
my favorite things to do. I write letters to God, dear God, this is how I feel today. I'm not so
Yeah.
happy. This is da, 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 da. And when I look back on those letters, God answers them sincerely. Prayers are not just the ones you speak with your words or
Yeah.
even in your heart. Even when you write
When you
letters,
write,
God reads.
God
Yeah,
sees,
God
God
actually
hears.
reads my
Yes.
letters. Like He reads them. I'm so sure, because there are times that I've prayed some prayers with my letters to God, and I
Mm.
didn't even mutter a
Utter
word.
them out.
But I've seen God actually fulfill them. And I
Yeah.
believe that the times I actually write my letters to God are in seasons where I'm very deep in, maybe in an experience or something's going on, and I
Mm.
feel like I don't even have the words to
Yeah.
explain, to express how I feel to the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit or to God. And then I go to writing letters. So that may be a good avenue as well. And when you want to talk to someone who's going through grief, it's completely fine to go to their house, sit down with them, and not say
Don't say
anything.
anything. Don't tell them.
It's
Ah.
completely okay,
And the truth
because your
is,
presence speaks
a
so
lot.
much more.
Yeah, and the truth is, I personally think, and I'm sure this is a general thing, even though we don't talk about it a lot, most times when you go and visit someone that just lost a loved one, do you actually always know what to say? Because the last one, I went there, I sat down, I was like, even my silence is enough. Let me just sit down here, because I was like, number one, I don't want to open my mouth and say rubbish. You understand? I don't want to open my mouth and say something stupid, something insensitive. I was like, me being here, I'm sure they know it took me a lot to come all the way to their house and sit with them, considering that we didn't even really have a relationship, but I just had to be there, you know. So I just sat down there, I said sorry, because honestly, that's all I could say. I didn't really have a word for them, but I was able to talk to the kids at least and tell them, oh, do you understand what has happened? Because also knowing that in our part of the world, people
Nobody pays
neglect
attention to the
children.
children.
So I had to call at least the eldest daughter. That one I know she would actually have some form of understanding. I called her side. I told her, how are you doing? She said she's fine. I said, are you sure? She said, yeah, she's okay. I said, do you understand what has happened? She said, yes, she does. She said, okay, how do you feel about it? So we spoke for a while, and then I could see that she actually understood what had happened. That was all the speaking I did, and to say sorry, 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 and they kept offering. I'm not going to talk about that. They were offering me food. Is it that everybody's awkward? They don't know what to do. That they are really like they offered me food. I told them I was fasting. They offered me when it was 6 o'clock. They're like, "It's time to break. Now it's time to eat." I'm serious. I was like, "Is it that?" In my mind, I was like, "Is it that we don't know what to say? That's the only thing they are just trying to, use as a form of interaction is will you eat, will you eat, will you eat until I ate that food." That's just an aside, by the way. But yeah, yeah,
Amazing. I think we've shared a lot.
yes. On denial and the
Yeah,
first, the first,
to yeah,
you
how to
know,
manage grief,
yeah,
what to say to them when you call, offering support,
mm,
and even individually processing that grief as well. There's so
yes,
many other aspects of grief
yeah.
and
So
really
I was
needing
going to
to.
say something here. Excuse me. I was going to say something. At what point does denial end? I personally
Hmm,
feel like denial might end at the point where the person has been lowered 6 feet under the ground
yeah.
at the burial ceremony, of which I find it very weird that in African culture, at least I know that one, or let me say in Yoruba culture, they don't allow parents. There's this superstition or myth or culture where they don't allow parents or those who they think are older than the deceased to be at the burial.
Hmm,
I think it's just really wicked, and I don't know why people go along with it. Because why wouldn't you want to see your son, your in-law, or like, wouldn't you help you gain some form of closure? You understand? And I don't know if anybody has an experience with how this has an adverse effect on the parents or
hmm,
on those people who are not allowed to be at the burial, because I think it's very important. I feel like for most people, denial might end at the point where you actually pour that sand inside this thing. They now cover it up in front of you, and you're like, "Omo, it's really true. Like, I'm not going to see this person again. This is the end. This person is really dead." I feel like that's one of the most important, things to experience when someone you love has died. It's good to experience that part, whether you're old or young.
hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's really deep, oh, you know, and it's food for thought.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
really deep.
right. Thank you.
All right, so well, this is the first part of the series. We have
Yes.
so many more discussions about grief, healing as well. So many strategies or things that help us. We're still in the journey of healing. Really, I believe healing is forever. If you ask me,
Honestly,
this 22 years after, and I can tell you, I'm still healing. And
yeah.
really, time does not heal anyone. You have to be
Time doesn't
intentional.
heal once.
You have to be
Yes.
intentional about your healing process and take responsibility for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope to see you in the next one. But before then, make sure you subscribe, share this. It's going to be on podcast. Um, it's going to be on.
In the meantime, please like this video,
Yes,
comment, drop a comment. Tell
yes,
us, have
share
you
it.
had an experience, a similar experience? Do you have anything you feel like we missed out and we should have talked about? Please drop it in the comments so that we can actually make a video to talk about this. Do you have any questions for us concerning our experience and experiences with loss? Please ask us in the comments. We're gonna be there. We're not those YouTubers that will not, come and read comments. We're gonna be there, and we're going to answer. If we just need to answer in the comments, we'll answer. If we need to, make a
Make a
video, we're going
video.
to make a video. Now, if you know someone who is experiencing this, share this video. This video will make them think. It will make them laugh, because I know I'm a funny person, right? it's just going to help them. Really, I feel like it's really going to help them. It's informative, it's entertaining at the same time. So please share the video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, please. Right? God bless you. Thank you. Bye.